One of Joan Laporta's biggest ambitions is to sign Julián Álvarez, the Argentine star who played a key role alongside Lionel Messi in winning the World Cup. But that's not the main topic of this video. The focus today is Luis de la Fuente's response to Hansi Flick after the German coach's remarks about Lamine Yamal being called up to the Spanish national team despite his injury. De la Fuente didn't stay silent, he fired back at Flick again, and this controversy seems far from over. Subscribe to the channel and let's jump straight into the Champions League.
It was 2-1 till the red card.
Hansi Flick knows this side can score goals. He knows it can rip teams open. Doesn't keep him awake at night.
Craig is funny. He said that Hansi Flick can't sleep at night just thinking about his defensive line and that he might be in for a rude awakening with El Clasico around the corner. But does Flick really have no plan to avoid those sleepless nights, as Craig suggests? The truth is, Real Madrid aren't in their best form right now, even though many of their players are in great shape, but Barcelona always seems to surprise when the game is against Los Blancos.
He's got players that can create in midfield. He's got players that can play in the wide position. He's got players that can play behind a Lewandowski or a striker. Olmo, Fermin Lopez, whoever it is. He is having palpitations about his back line. I think what we've seen in La Liga this season, particularly Girona at the weekend in the first 45, is a better reflection of this Barcelona and where they are than any 6-1 victory against a weaker side in the Champions League. Now, that being said, with the Clasico at the weekend, we all know, if you watch it, Real Madrid are no great shakes either and have their own issues. But the one thing that's keeping Hansi Flick up and getting him in a hot sweat of an evening is this back line. Because if they get it wrong at the weekend, like they have for the bulk of this season, they have, arguably, along with Julián Álvarez and Erling Haaland, Europe's hottest player at the moment is Kylian Mbappe. So, yes, great result for what it's worth. They'll qualify in this 36-team league. We know all that. We know they'll score goals. The issue come the weekend is the back line, the protection of the back line, and how high that line is, and how Real Madrid may or may not expose it. That's going to be the difference between who wins and loses at the weekend. Beating 10 men 6-1 is getting you 3 points, doing nothing else.
Craig has been quite critical of Barcelona's defensive line. He believes we're far too exposed and that this could be our biggest weakness. It's fair to admit that he has a point. Defensively, there's clear room for improvement. It's been a while since we've seen 5 straight matches without conceding a goal. Barcelona score plenty, but they also concede far too many, and that's an issue that needs fixing. It's great to play attacking football and dominate possession, but it's not exactly attractive to see the team conceding in almost every game. Hansi Flick is fully aware of this and has been working to address it. He's adjusted the team's defensive positioning, demanded more compactness between the lines, and asked the forwards to press harder immediately after losing the ball. He's also been rotating defenders, testing different combinations of Koundé, Christensen, Araujo and Balde to find the perfect balance between solidity and ball progression. The team is starting to show signs of improvement, but there's still plenty of work to be done. However, Barcelona will need to stay completely focused against Real Madrid, as they have incredibly fast players like Mbappe and Vinicius, who can easily exploit any positional mistakes from our high defensive line when trying to set the offside trap. Without proper defensive compactness, it could be lethal, especially now that Mbappe has fully adapted to La Liga and looks more dangerous than ever. According to Sport, Hansi Flick has practically defined Barcelona's game plan for the upcoming El Clasico against Real Madrid. After the win over Olympiacos, the coach seems to have a clear idea of his core starting lineup. Koundé, Balde, Pedri and Lamine Yamal are all guaranteed starters. Szczęsny remains untouchable in goal, while Araujo could return to the starting 11. In attack, there are still doubts. Ferran Torres isn't yet 100%, which could push Flick to use Rashford as a central striker, with Fermin Lopez on the left and Yamal on the right. The plan also suggests that Frenkie de Jong might play in a more advanced role, with Marc Casado sitting deeper. De Jong, however, did not train today and left the Ciutat Esportiva after feeling unwell. Although that's a concern for Barcelona, there are still 3 days left before El Clasico, enough time for him to recover. Flick considers the Dutchman a key player, especially given the team's current list of absentees, and the club hopes to have him ready for Sunday's showdown against Real Madrid. Meanwhile, Rafinha has returned to full training and is expected to be available for selection. Flick has been rotating the squad to ensure the key players arrive at the Bernabeu in top physical condition. Barcelona head into El Clasico determined to bounce back this season and deliver a strong performance against Real Madrid. Garcia was also reminded of his past comments about Lionel Messi and asked whether Lamine Yamal is reaching that level. He replied thoughtfully, "Not yet, and I don't think comparing him to Messi helps. He's only just starting his career." Commenting on the intense spotlight surrounding the Barcelona prodigy, Garcia added, "Of everything that's said, you can only believe half. He needs people around him who protect him and give good advice. He's already an international level player. Last season he played beautiful, attacking football. I still see him as incredibly strong." In an interview with Win-Win, Santi Cazorla also weighed in, saying the 18-year-old La Masia sensation should be left in peace to write his own story instead of being burdened by constant comparisons. Comparisons with Messi or Cristiano are not good for anyone. Lamine needs to write his own story and enjoy his youth, said Cazorla. The controversy surrounding Lamine Yamal's injury continues, and this time, Spain's national team coach Luis de la Fuente has spoken out sharply in response to Hansi Flick's recent criticism of the youngster's call-up. The teenage winger has become one of Spain's brightest stars, both for club and country. Yet despite his brilliance and his runner-up finish in the Ballon d'Or race, concerns about his fitness have fueled growing tension between the Spanish Federation and Barcelona in recent weeks. De la Fuente didn't hold back when asked about Flick's criticism. Speaking on El Hormiguero, he said, "I didn't understand it because he was also a national team coach. In the end, everyone is judged by their actions. Sometimes, I also don't understand the club's stance. Every player wants to be with the national team. There's a calendar that clearly shows how many games you can play. What's unacceptable is complaining in November and then, when the new year starts, saying everything's fine. There are a lot of games and it's a challenge for the players." Despite the controversy, De La Fuente didn't hide his admiration for the young Barcelona star. "We have to appreciate what it means for an 18-year-old who joined us at 16 to achieve what he's doing. Beyond his extraordinary talent, he trains hard, competes, handles pressure, is followed by cameras 24 hours a day, yet never loses his cool and remains composed. That's incredibly difficult, and we should value that." The coach also reflected on the pressure surrounding the teenager's rising fame, particularly the media attention on his personal life. "That would drive me crazy. I couldn't handle it, but players like him can. One thing is the image he shows to the outside world. It's very hard not to slip when you're being followed 24/7. But in private, when we talk, he's a very mature young man for his age. He listens, which is important, and I can only express gratitude. From a technical standpoint, I've seen some very good players. I'm a huge supporter of defending the Spanish national team. The best players in the world are in Spain, thanks to their understanding of the game, tactical awareness, and technical ability. Lamine, Pedri, Rodrigo, and I could go on, are, in my opinion, among the best players in the world." Thanks to his development at La Masia and the exemplary upbringing from his mother and grandmother, Lamine Yamal learned early on the values that shape not only a great player but also an admirable person. The hardest part, however, is keeping his composure under constant spotlight, and he's managed that with remarkable maturity. We can only hope he remains surrounded by positive influences that help him stay focused, so he can continue bringing joy to fans for many years, just like Messi and other great Barcelona icons did. Barcelona, meanwhile, is planning major changes for the summer of 2026, including finding a replacement for Robert Lewandowski, who may be entering his final season with the club. One of Joan Laporta's main targets is Julian Alvarez, the Atletico Madrid standout, who has scored 36 goals and provided 11 assists in just over a year. However, according to Radio Estadio Noche, although Atletico appears open to negotiating, the asking price, around €200 million, makes the deal nearly impossible for Barcelona, which is still facing financial restrictions. As a result, the club might opt for a temporary solution before making another attempt to sign Alvarez in the coming years.